with is just show you the profession map, where it is. It's on our website. You can get to it via the front page of the website. The profession map is a CQI's vision of what quality professional competence is. So we have 5 competence areas: context, governance, assurance, improvement, leadership. Each of those has a number of key components. So you can see here customers in the marketplace, legal, regulatory requirements, partners, suppliers, structure of the organization. That's context. And then each of those key components is subdivided into 4 tiers. Now, broadly, the 4 tiers represent a progression of competence. So tier 1, you're seeing that you can understand things, you can kind of articulate the organization's goals, etc. It's quite a basic level, whereas here you can start coordinating things, you start aligning things, you can see opportunities in tier 2, you can understand and use frameworks, you can look at risk, etc. So that's tier 2. By 3, you're getting to assessing the effectiveness and identifying and addressing opportunities. By tier 4, you're leading, developing, and advising. So on all of these key components, across all of these competence areas, you can see a progression of your competence and knowledge and skills and behaviors from the basic through to tier 4, where you're either a subject matter expert or you might be a quality director. Everybody is somewhere on this level, and a tier structure from 1 to 4, and your task is to try and work out where you are when it comes to a charter membership application, because you are going to have to say, I am tier 3 in governance, for example, or tier 4 in assurance. This map, more than ever before, can give you a steer onto how you present yourself, how you present your evidence, and how you present your case studies. So now I'm just going now straight back to a presentation that I just did, which was all about their charter membership. So apologies to the team here that I'm going to try and steal some of your thunder. When it comes to case studies, you have to meet this matrix for charter membership application. One of governance, assurance, or improvement must have a 3 or a 4. Minimum of 3 in both leadership and context, an overall score of 13 or higher, and you demonstrate your competence with case studies, which is evidence of how you went about doing something in practice. And I really do apologize. I'm probably going to be absolutely duplicating what Fiona is going to be talking about shortly. How we usually talk about people presenting it is in structure of a case study, where you say, this was my context, this was my situation, this is the task that I had to do, these were the activities that I chose to meet that task and why I chose them, and these were the results. This is what happened as a result of everything I did. You're looking for a success story, and you're looking for 2 of those for each of the competence areas. Now, I talked about the tiers I showed you in the map. Here is an extract from one of the key components of assurance, and you'll be weighing up, am I a 2 or a 3? Am I able to apply things and articulate things, or can I develop them? Can I guide people? Can I manage risk? Can I assess things? Can I influence people? Again, another part of assurance. Can you analyze data, or can you guide and advise on the methods that you're going to be using? Can you select the right methods for statistical analysis? These are the sorts of considerations you will be having when you are looking at the key components of assurance and these tiers and deciding, okay, for assurance, I think I'm a 3 rather than a 2. So use the language within the profession map as a sense check for whether you are operating at a tier 1, a tier 2, tier 3 level. It's not in there by accident. This is very much competence focused. So my sense check, and this is my last slide, I think, when it comes to this. This is my sense check. This is my take on it. I've led on the profession map project. I'm head of professional development. I used to be a membership, not now. So this is my sense check. Firstly, you don't need to demonstrate that you meet all the lower tiers. In the profession map, this is not about, here I am, I tick everything in tier 1, I tick everything in tier 2, and this is me in tier 3. You need to demonstrate that through your case studies, that you're operating at the tier you are claiming. If you're claiming tier 3, make sure your case study relates to tier 3. You've only got so many words that you can use, so make sure you use them talking about tier 3. Sense check the language you use in your case study Is it consistent with the tier that you're claiming? Are you in your head talking about advising and leading, but the language you're using is much more passive? If it is much more passive, if it is lower grade, then change your language. Make sure it reflects the actuality of what you did. So make sure your language is consistent with the tier. Our assessors have the profession map. They're going to be their guide to assessing applications, or one of their guides to assessing applications. Use the right language. Obviously, don't use language that you can't back up with evidence, but use the right language. Add authentic details. So don't talk in generalities, and please don't just repeat phrases from the profession map. Don't just go, and then I determined and applied appropriate internal and external performance comparisons. That's just repeating what's in the profession map. What we'll be looking for is, okay, what was your reasoning? What were the things you chose? What were the things you rejected, and why? Give us the details of what you did. The assessor is going to be looking for that mark of authenticity, the details, the thought process that you went through. So don't just repeat phrases from the profession map. Use it as a reference point, but don't just copy and paste. That won't get you anywhere. And thirdly, you've got the key components. There's between 3 and 4 key components for each competence area. Look across the key components. You might be thinking about a case study, which is primarily about, say, customers in the marketplace. But actually, there might be things in one of the other key components, or other key components, or even other competence areas that you might want to draw through and cross-reference to kind of show your rounded approach to things. So don't just be narrowly focused on, I've got a case study that meets tier 3 of this key component. Look more broadly across it. We're looking for 2 case studies that show you are at tier 3 or tier 2 or tier 4. Put real world examples in there of what you did, and the profession map is there to guide you, is there to say, okay, actually maybe this case study isn't at the level I'm thinking, so I have to find another case study. Don't try and massage it up. If it's not at the right level, be honest with yourself, find another case study. So that is a very, very quick jaunt through the profession map and how you can use it. But it is on our website. There is support and resources on the CQI website, which is quality.org. At the bottom, you can see the URL for getting to the map, and there's also a QR code here. If you've got any questions or feedback specifically about the map, not necessarily about applications, then you can email the profession map at quality.org. If it's specifically about an application, then it would be the team that are speaking to you today. That is what I have, Fiona. And happy if there are any questions to answer any questions. Otherwise, I will leave you be.
Well, yes, we got Gareth for about 5 more minutes. So if anybody has any questions about the profession map specifically and how it relates to the charter member application, please put them in now. If we don't have any questions about that, we'll continue with the application form and let Gareth get off to the rest of his day. So
it doesn't look like there's anything. So all I'll say is best of luck applying with your charter membership application. Use the resources available. Use this fantastic team that you have in front of you. They're here to help you be successful, and look forward to seeing your membership and going on that professional development journey with you.
Great, thanks, Gareth.
thanks,
Okay,
Gareth.
thank you all.
Great, so that was just a brief overview of the profession map and how it can help towards your chartered member case study. So Fiona, do you want to just give a brief overview of the form and exactly, probably repeat some of the stuff Gareth said?
Yeah.
But yeah, just give an idea on what we're actually looking for the form itself.
Yeah, so you'll see in this section the scoring guidance that Gareth mentioned previously. So all of this is on the form for you to do yourself. So when you come to do your charter member application, the profession map is the first thing you should be looking at in terms of giving yourself a self-assessment score and deciding if chartered member is the correct grade for you. As we said, there's other routes into membership. Our 5 competence areas are here: assurance, context, governance, improvement and leadership. For each one, to access it and start filling it in, you can click edit upload here. There's additional guidance on things like scoring, the case study topics. There's some brief guidance here, but we really would recommend that you are looking at the profession map itself online for that. It has those more detailed drop downs for you about each one. The structure that we recommend is the situation, objective, action, results, aftermath. Is similar to the structure that Gareth mentioned. So providing what was the situation, what was it that you was trying to achieve, what actions did you take, why did you choose those particular quality tools and techniques rather than others, what happened, and what sort of learning outcomes did you have from that? Did you decide to do that again in the future and apply it in this organization or another organization, and how did it go? It's also got guidance on providing supporting evidence. So when you write your case studies, you should be writing sort of 300 to 500 words here of first person narrative. So it should be about you and what you did rather than, as Gareth said, passive. It should be you and your team, what you rather than your team, what actions did you specifically take in this situation, in this case study. You should be filling that box in here. You can fill it in a Word document or somewhere else on your computer and then copy and paste it into here. That's perfectly fine in these boxes. You should be giving yourself a score for the competence overall. You only have to give 1 for assurance, 1 for context, etc. So you'll be adding your score, you'll be adding your case study information, and then you have an option with evidence. You can provide documentary evidence, so reports, presentations, that sort of thing, anything that evidences that case study and your particular role in it. If it's reflective of any particular quality techniques you used, you can upload that at the top of the page. If you can't provide documentary evidence for any reason, perhaps you've chosen a case study from an organisation that you're no longer with, or your organisation doesn't want you to share the documents on the grounds of confidentiality, you can provide a referee statement in lieu of documentary evidence. For that, we ask that you put the referee's name, their email address, and that you obtain the statement from them. We have some bullet points here about what the statement should include. It should confirm their role and position, that your position, and specifically reference the work that you've included in the case study. So you'll obtain that statement for each case that you're using it for, and then we will double check that with your referees. So that is how to fill in the sections. Obviously you can save it and come back to it, and keep going like that if you like. It's the same in each of the 5 areas, so the same edit, upload, and you'll be able to add in all your information there. Are there any questions about the competence section, Rob?
There are. I might just add a couple of things to it. So we are looking for 2 case studies for each of the competency areas. So do keep in mind that you'll need to write 2. Some of the common questions that we get is, can you use the same case study for different case study areas, i.e. improvement and insurance, for instance, or improvement and leadership? The answer is yes, but you will need to tailor it towards that case study. So if you're talking, if you're doing and writing the improvement case study, make sure you're talking about the improvement side and what you did there. And then if you were using the same example for leadership, then make sure you talk about the leadership things within that case study. The other thing probably to mention is in terms of document confidentiality, you know, we get a lot of questions about this. You can send us redacted documents as well. So if you wish to black out any sensitive information, we will accept that for the evidence as well. Someone has asked, how long does where they say, I think, regrade process take from submission, but the general application process take to get marked, Fiona?
So we can't give 100% on regrades because we don't actually manage that side. We manage new member applications primarily, but the processes are similar. Basically, once you submit the application, it will be reviewed by a member of staff. That usually takes 1 to 2 days for the member of staff, and then we will let you know if we think you need to provide additional information, if you haven't provided enough evidence, that sort of thing, and not enough CPD objectives. We will let you know on that basis if you need to provide more information. Then your application, once it's ready, will be sent to a technical assessor. They're specialists in marking chartered member applications. As Gareth said, they have the profession map, so they're very clear on what it is that they're looking for. They will then review your application. That process, depending on sort of how busy it is and that sort of thing, that usually takes between 1 and 2 weeks. If they think that perhaps you would be able to, if you change one of the case studies, that you would be able to make the grade, they'll let us know and you'll get another opportunity. In that case, that it might be that they recommend another grade as well. If they feel like you're more suited for practitioner based on the case studies that you've provided, they may offer you that. As I said, if they think that perhaps if you change one of the case studies, you would be making the chartered member grade, they'll send your application back to us and we will ask you to provide that information, and then it will go for assessment again. You wouldn't need to pay any additional application fees for that second review. That's sort of included. We do work with you, both us and the member journey team who handle regrades. We'll work with you as much as we can to make sure that you're getting the grade that you apply for, or the suitable alternative.
Yeah, I think the main thing on that is if you're unsure on your case study, check the profession map and make sure it ticks the boxes for it. Someone has asked, can they come back to the form? And the answer is yes. So you can come back to the form and fill it in and as you go. So for instance, you can fill in those sections, press save, and then come back to it at a later date and all your information will be saved. There's no other questions, but there are a few other sections to the form that you would need to fill in, which we will briefly go over now. While Fiona loads them up, for anyone that is joining the CQI as a new starter, we understand that this chartered member process can take time to fill in the case studies, as I said, and there's evidence that you would need to populate and so forth. So we did mention that there are alternative routes in, and we do get a lot of people consider that and then potentially even get a mentor and use the membership benefits to help them with their chartered member process. So there are a lot of ways in and help and assistance that you can get. And anyone regrading, same situation goes, you can use the mentoring scheme, the network and our other benefits to help you with this chartered member process. You don't have to go it alone.